All right, hello and welcome. This is your GM in the Great Barrier. We are back tonight with Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword, The Prospect of Violence, Part 2. And before we get started, I wanted to give a quick plug here, or rather, allow one of our players to make a quick plug. Joe, by all means.
Greetings. I am Joe, also known as the host of Overland Gamer, the podcast. We are getting back into regular episodes starting tomorrow with our top 10 board games kind of all time. We're not sure if the any games that are being released this year will knock any of the top 10 out, but there's sure some contenders coming down the line. You can find us on Spotify, Anchor.fm, Apple Podcasts, and Google Podcasts. I'll share the link in stream chat here momentarily for the Spotify. We're going to try to do at least every Tuesday and Thursdays, if not more. But Overland Gamer, the podcast, takes a look at board games and travel and just has a lot of fun with it. So thanks for checking us out.
Yep, and for those catching this in the archive, we will, of course, post that link in the description of the video, so by all means, please check that out. Unfortunately, we have had to part ways with our chef in the most amicable of circumstances. Real life has proven a little bit trying for them at the moment. Circumstances are such that they will be stepping away from the game. We wish them the best and look forward to when they can grace us with Traven Lex once more, but we'll tend to that in the future. Till then, Kapla, my dude. And we'll be a seat at our virtual table will always be waiting. But with all that, let's get into tonight's session. And it has been a little while, so let us recap a little bit. When last we left off, the crew of the Yon had arrived in the Talinor system. It was some ways after the encounter with a freighter that seemed to be haunted by a very rudimentary artificial intelligence, possibly the remains of a old Klingon scientist who unleashed all manner of horrors upon you, from mutated Klingons to a mutant clone of your own chief engineer, Raldar. You managed to at least not lose anybody in that mission, but you had come away with some scars. Most notably, Traven Lex had been severely injured by the mutant Raldar clone's attack. And there had been general. There's just been a general sort of disquiet among some of the crew. Maybe it is just the nature of that close encounter, the terror pertaining to that, the near infection that might have taken Mr. Korg, and of course the fact that now you are back to canned food until somebody figures out, until you figure out who can take over in the galley. Um, but all of this has not stopped you from making it to the Talinor system, the largest in terms of energy production in the whole of the Klingon Empire. A source of all the, uh, or at least the bulk of the Empire's dilithium, pergium, and other energy generating minerals, strategic materials of all sorts. You were sent here after making a stop by the planet of Zethlor, where you got this job in the first place. Essentially, a representative of a mining guild had informed you that there was a group of Creel that were essentially occupying a mining claim. There's a fair-sized house that has a mining claim in this sector, and the Creel are apparently in violation of said claim, so you were sent here to basically kick them off. The When you arrived in the system, aside from a little bit of harassment by another group of miners, you more or less had a safe entry in, and you made it to the asteroid that the Creel have set up in. The asteroid depicted ahead. Essentially, their base is set up to where there's a crater that verges on a cave. They might have dug into it a bit, and they have parked their ships inside. They had erected shield emitters so that when things got aggressive, they could raise it to cover their ships and the entrance. It is functionally, because they are so integrated, they have almost turned this asteroid partly into a makeshift base of sorts. They seem pretty deeply entrenched, and the minerals were such that it was the composition made it difficult for you to beam through that. You would, by the easiest path, have to beam onto the ship. However, that depended on getting through. You made the encounter with the base and started trying to convince them to leave. They were not receptive to that. They claimed that they had a legitimate claim of their own, which the captain obviously deemed to be bullshit, thus started firing away. Initial battle was a bit difficult, more so because the GM had been very sloppy about helping everyone into a space combat scenario, and that's my bad, everybody. But yes, the eventually, with quite considerable effort, you managed to break through the Creel's makeshift shield emitters, and you took the novel approach of beaming down the Raldar clone that you had from that earlier freighter encounter. A clone who, has been under fairly poor treatment, maybe in part given the fact that it has largely been overseen by the clone's unwilling progenitor. Some of you may be of varying levels of awareness. Some of you may just not care as much about it. But in any case, it is, with the treatment it's received, it is undoubtedly quite rage-filled. So it is at that point, I think, that we
It
would.
was at that point that we broke the GM and had to take a break from the game until he recovered his wits.
Look, I'm just raising him how I was raised.
Wait, is
Oh.
that RACED or RAI?
Oh.
Sure.
That's terrible. I hope you feel shame for that.
No, not at all. No, not at all. Puns are my thing.
Well, in any case, yeah, this is about where we come back to then. We will pick up from the bridge of the Yan, our Raptor class, the quote unquote hero ship. Heroes being a very open term for discussion. The protagonists. That's what we'll call them.
I have never done anything wrong.
So,
We know this and we love you.
yep. On the bridge, we have currently at stations Captain Tabok overseeing the crew. At the helm, the old helmsman, Mr. Azek Korg. The Kazinti security officer Woe, who has very much not been herself. And otherwise, I believe it was just Dekoth, one of the Klingons you picked up from another world that has been manning one of the auxiliary stations. So it is here where you have just managed to drop down the shields for a moment and beam aboard the feral Raldar clone where we find ourselves. But yeah, let's take it from there. Captain, what would be your next inclination, or do you have any thoughts with your crew or things you would want to seek out right now?
Well, I would just have why can't I remember his name? Our little guy, technically our science officer. Why can't I remember his name?
Vopri, the greatest being in the world.
Yes,
Vopri.
Vopri the good. And
Captain,
I would have
have you
him
been
keep.
drinking? Do you need to lay off the blood wine a little bit? I'm more than capable of taking command.
No. I will have Voprai keep an eye on Raldar too. Let me know how many he kills.
Will do, Captain. I will keep an eye on it.
And if his life signs start to fade, have that idiot in the transporter room grab him and bring him back.
Did someone say my name? Captain? Did you say my name?
No, I obviously didn't say your name.
But you were thinking it.
The small little Rantal, his features sinewy white and is somewhat as well slightly ragged, but as well maintained as he could. Garb, he will go and discreetly adjust the comm settings so that Croker's voice is cut off.
There's a reason I like that little guy and why I freed him. Any chance we can listen in on their internal comms?
Let me see. I have been doing a workup, Captain, of the rough schematics, attempting to get a sense of layout of the station. I have a rough sense of chambers that are present here, but not entirely sure of function. Stand by. And Voprai will shift the visual to a tactical display.
Oh, look at that. Fancy, fancy. What is the dotted lines?
As best as I can discern, they are an unpressurized section. I believe there is transit of ore in that area for orientation. And then, this is odd. We have no appropriate cursor here, so I just ask the audience to suspend their disbelief and imagine that it doesn't exist. Near as I can... for reference, Captain, this area near the top of the visual display exits to the segment of the asteroid crater. They appear to have one of the ships docked in the area there, and there are some utility systems that run through. Near as I can tell, this first chamber is the location where the where ore is being transported to. My best guess with the mining layout would be that is a staging area, cargo storage, and, well, a transit area of sorts. Crew, cargo, any mined quantities would move through that area. It would also be the first place that some crew might be present here. The shaft, that section would be an unpressurized area to maneuver some of the surplus area. This area I have demarked here is deeper in the asteroid, and based on analysis, I would think there is a presence of at least one dilithium vein.
What about life signs for the Creel?
Biosigns I am still attempting to piece together. The interference is quite considerable. I can say, however, I was able to beam the clone into the corridor section leading to the ship. Basically, that top area of the map for transit purposes.
All right. So we can't keep an immediate eye on all of the inhabitants?
I am trying, Captain. It is very difficult. The sensor analysis is difficult with the amounts of magnesite and galisite in the asteroid surface. The shields, such that they are still intact, are posing a slight issue.
If we got rid of the rest of the shields, would you have a better chance of giving me the information I want?
I will try, Captain. I'll allow me additional scans. And then just so you have the reference, there's a little guy there.
Ooh, ping. All right, well, we got him.
Yeah, I was waiting for that. The murder dot.
What a little guy. What a little small fella.
Yep. Just a
Can we
little
change?
guy.
Can we change the color of the sections he's in to like green? Because we know that they're all dead in there.
We are Klingon. We don't have those Romulan green colors on our screens. What
All
are you
right, all
talking
right.
about?
Make it yellow. That's the other color we have.
That's fine.
Oh, how dare you?
What do you think this is? Some kind of Romulan ship? Come on now.
Aren't
What-
aren't, aren't
what-
every Klingon ship green though?
What? I
Yeah, our chips
Oh
are
my
green.
god!
I mean, you're
That's on the outside. That's rust.
you're thinking Barrels and the Barrel and Cavort class, as which are a century later. Everything there's not much standard right now, but there you go.
Our ship is actually kind of gray.
Yep. The chamber is yellow. Are you happy? Do you like that sickly
Look
shade?
at that.
You
Yes, yes.
monsters.
Ooh.
It's like a
I'm
boy.
downgrading to orange.
Oh, what?
Because we don't know yet. We're not entirely sure.
Pretty sure he's going to kill
Once
everything.
once he's left the section, it becomes yellow. But while he's still in there, I understand that it's orange.
Alright.
Gee, I'm
You're
bored.
glad we're back, aren't you?
I
Aren't you,
hear
Mr.
nothing.
GM? You're glad we're
I
back.
hear nothing.
You really missed us.
Grumble, grumble.
Well,
Okay, so
Orange.
we know where Raldar Mark II is.
My
okay.
boy.
Yep. So yeah, at present,
Junior. We're just going to call him Junior.
Raldar may have had other ideas on what to name him, but I don't know
I
if
don't even
he's
think
sure.
Klingons have a Junior, so whatever. But
Junior is fine.
Yeah. Mm,
Raldar II Junior.
I will attempt. I will attempt to continue the scans and see what I can discern with regard to this captain. So Vopry
Is
is
there a
going.
way?
Go ahead.
Bopry, could we beam a tricorder in there and use that as a link? If we can't get direct sensor input, can we send a tricorder in, just put it on wide scan and have it transmit the data back to us?
Allow me to discern, Captain. And let me just refresh my own memory here.
It's like a remote probe.
Captain, I do not believe that will be possible just yet. The Creel vessels their base's shields remain partially up, and while we were able to create momentary disruptions, it has recohered.
Whoa, do something about that, please.
And she just kind of sighs. She's like, another round of photons, Captain.
No, just use disruptors for now.
Alright.
I was going to say, photon torpedoes at the close range you are at would be very, very...
Yeah, we
Done.
already experienced that funness last time. No, just shoot them.
Yep.
You're aiming. You're aiming to take down the shields.
Yep. As this is happening, we'll take a brief look outside, and we actually have a battle map. Or we have our battle grid up for the first time in a while.
Interesting. Okay, cool.
Yeah. So the way that I have operated, any object essentially. I think the way we've been doing this is that object. I think the way I've done this is that close has always been a square, like one square away. But I think actually, and I'm so sorry for those in the stream that keep getting that bouncing around. I think I have seen some other people play it very differently, where close is within the same grid space. So retroactively, since you parked in very close, I am going to move you essentially into that same area, and we're going to play around with this a little bit, but
no worries, Mr. GM.
we will call for the time being, close will be anything within the same. I'm going to say it is anything within the grid and adjacent to it. That is to say, there is a connecting square, or not square, but you get the idea.
Space.
Yes, an adjacent space. Medium will be at a distance of one adjacent space separating you from that, and then long range will be two spaces, and with anything outside of that falling into extreme range. And for any of you that are listening that have no idea what I'm talking about, this is just one moment to quickly describe a bit of how Star Trek Adventures works. In general, there's a principle that you establish zones where basically relative distances where places are happening. There's not, say, a specific number of hexes or like distance as there are in some other tabletop games. The zoning is dependent very much upon just the context of the thing. So it's meant to be that the system you can use it in space, you can use it on the ground, you can use it for varying purposes. Where zones come into play for space combat in particular, that deals with the effectiveness of weapon ranges. So, for example, Theon, our quote-unquote hero ship, it is equipped with disruptor cannons, which cannons fall at a close range, so that'd be within or in the adjacent space. They also have a stockpile of photon torpedoes, which would be at longer range. So that would be effective at the two spaces away. And depending on where the distance is, if they're not in a proper range, then it gets more difficult to make those type of attacks.
We have the big disruptor cannons on the front, and we have two disruptor blisters on the back half of the ship as well.
Yeah. The placements don't matter so much for this, as not being FASA or Starfleet battles. There isn't so much in terms of the weapon arcs, but in any case, we can say you are in a position where you are nose to the asteroid directly ahead of you, in particular directly towards the shields. So you are in close range of your target, and you're in a position to begin collapsing those shields. This, for you, Woe, would be a control plus security roll with a difficulty of 2. The ship assists with the role of weapons and security, which anyone now want to take over as the designated ship rolling officer?
Hey, I'm already holding all the threat. That's someone else's job.
The momentum, rather. Let's see. Captain, could I put you into rolling up here? Rolling for the ship, that is.
I'm working on it right now. So it's weapons and security, correct? You said for the ship?
Yes, I would say that. And it's too late for me to spend threat here on this. But yes, go right ahead.
And that's only 1 die from the ship, correct?
That is correct. And actually, that is a very interesting pitch there to the player that just messaged me. I think that I am going to enact that as a complication. So, first on the immediate roll, I'll say that you score 2 successes. The ship does not assist you, although it does expend another point of power. So if you could subtract that from the sheet there, Tabak. And I am actually going to expend 2 points of threat here for a complication, which we'll get to in a moment. On the more immediate question, please roll, Captain, since you've got the ship sheet open, can you scroll down to the disruptor cannons and roll damage for those, please?
Oh, great heavens.
There we go.
Well, great bird of the galaxy. That is 4, 6, 8, 9, and with the effect, so that is 9 points of damage, plus one of them having an effect symbol, which means it gains the Vicious 2 effect of the Disruptor Cannon. So Those fire for 10 points of damage at near point blank range on these shields. Their shields were not that strong to begin with. So that's definitely going to collapse the remainder of the shields. They do resist some of that, so let's see. They resist 4 points, which means you still do 6. That is enough to score a breach, and you collapse their shields to 0, so that is also a breach. So, for those wondering about that terminology, in space combat, we are dealing with, as with anything in Star Trek, these are ships and space stations that have energy shields, and when the defenses of a ship get whittled away, um, that creates breaches, which create damage to the systems that they basically determine the stats of the ships, and as you damage each system, that makes things more difficult for the other side to be able to respond effectively. And in the worst cases, can actually result in the outright destruction of said ships. So let's see here about those breaches. We'll have to roll d20s on these, so let me just get that set here. I wanted to use damage tables for these, but unfortunately it has not been as easy to get functioning. Let's see here. So a d20, 11, and a 3. So that will be that first point. We'll just set up the narrative first. The barrage begins tearing up the shields, and they flit with a slight bluish energy as they try to take the pummeling of each sickly green disruptor bolt. But the shields are on their last legs. The emitters begin shorting out one by one, and soon the shields begin to just collapse completely.
And somewhere on the set for the base in the asteroid, sparks are falling from the ceiling.
Yes. rocks are falling everywhere in there. In particular, that first bit of the barrage actually winds up strafing along large portions of the crater, probably not doing much damage to the ships and the interior itself, but several bolts do hit home at these ships, which, because of how they've rigged up their shield emitters, they were guarding that crater, and they are no longer capable of doing so. With the collapse of those shields, the vessels began taking just all manner of hits, raking their hulls and causing severe disruptions to basically plumes of atmosphere coming out and absolutely just snarling them in extremely gruesome fashion for this. So that first hit is considered a point to the ship's structure. That does also mean here I get to roll one die here to determine how that affects the crews on board. Oh, that would count as an effect, so there's going to be there was probably one Creel on one of the ships that has died now, and that will be impaired. I will notch that on the tally. Yeah, you're fairly confident you have scored at least one kill with that. Otherwise, I'm double checking that other breach here. So I don't recall. 3 is either the weapons or the communication systems, and it obviously can make a bit of a difference depending on which of those gets hit. So you know what I should have done? I really ought to have made myself a table to remind me what what damage points are, basically. That is on the GM, and I apologize for that.
We'll flog you with dead gosh later.
Yes, as if I wasn't under enough punishment anyway. Okay, it
What, you
looks...
mean dealing with us?
Slightly.
Ow.
You asked for that, okay?
I
Go ahead.
know I did.
Yep.
I set that one up.
Yes, allow me to take the moment and say that this is a player positive stream. I love all of them. I'm happy to have them here. This is a great group. I missed the one that could not join us, but yeah,
His spirit will live on.
yes. If nothing else, in a symbiote. But yes, the disruptor blasts do they just begin tearing up other parts of the infrastructure that is on the exterior of the crater. Items that they have had kind of strewn about in order to basically connect the ships and log them in with the mine here. And screw this. I'm just going to.
So we broke some of those big blue standard containers.
You know, I'm going to slightly amend.
Those are like Klingon's mortal enemies.
Yep, I'm going to make the executive decision and call this that, because I am fairly certain that this is weapons damage here. So you in particular managed to knock out some of the cabling to the free electron laser that they had set up.
Lasers?
So,
okay.
Yeah, they had blasted you with the laser the last time.
Right.
Which
okay.
mean actually no, you do more than just the cable. You blast the laser entirely. It is completely blown out. So
watch the shields go down. Watch the series of secondary explosions go off. Turn to my chair and look at Woe and go, Kapla!
It's about damn time. Last time we tried this, it didn't work at all. She's perked up a little bit at the freaking explosion.
Yep. Well, you sustain the barrage until you are confident that enough of the ships are incapacitated, or like everything is relatively damaged here. You've done a fair array. You committed a bit more disruptor power than you realized, or perhaps something else is going on, because as that complication begins engaging, some lights actually start flickering.
Oh.
On our ship or on the base?
On your ship.
Oh, Captain, we seem to be having some issues.
Raldar, fix the energy problems.
Yeah. Don't get your beard twisted.
So, down in the reactor pit, Raldar, you find that there is there's an issue going on with the EPS systems. So the sustained use of the sustained disruptor fire has apparently resulted in some minor power issues that are going on. You are uncertain about trying to regenerate things, but you think that you could sensibly try to redirect some power flow.
All right. Let's get a fixing.
So give me a control and engineering roll, and I'm going to, just to solidify what's going on, I'm going to spend another 3 points of threat to increase your complication range here.
Ow.
That'll be up to
What
3. So,
all right. Bring it on.
Control and engineering, if you please.
Bring it on. Yes.
Okay, you managed to mostly stem this and pull some power away from a few other systems, but there are definite problems. Like you weapons, life support, engines, and shield systems. Basically, the core defensive aspects are presently functioning, but you cannot guarantee that other systems are not being compromised. And you are also, just from that, you are not certain why the power began to short with disruptor fire.
How can a ship be ready for battle if this keeps happening? I'll have a look at it closer.
Yeah. And this it does remind you a little bit of your later wartime days where things started going more on the fritz.
Let's see.
All right. So, yeah.
How's Junior doing?
Well, let's take a roll there. As I guess allow me one moment to conduct a roll, basically to determine a round here, and I can tell you how Junior is faring on the Creole base. Until then, if you wish to have dialogue or set up other scenes of some sort, then now would be the time.
Don't think I had. Tavok is busy.
Doctor to bridge.
What, Kresik? Nuchne.
What is happening? I'm losing power down here. My patient is crashing.
Raldar, get a little extra power to the sickbay.
I'll see what I can do, but there's power fluctuations everywhere since the disruptor cannons fired.
Captain,
What?
while we're suffering a little bit over here, why don't you try a little bit of diplomatic relations and hail them again, see if they answer. Otherwise, we'll be forced to send more big scary monsters to their
we have
crippled base.
We have plenty of those.
We do.
Just don't shoot anything. Beaupry, keep an eye on Junior. See what you can do about getting better sensor scans. I'm going to check the feeds to the cannons. They're just in the deck below. Dedicated feeds just for those.
Captain, maybe we should get Crook up here to help with the scans.
Azek makes sure that his hot pocket microwave is shut off.
Tavok just stops mid-stride when Woe mentions that and says, "He's manning the transporter. He's fine where he is right now. Thank you." And then I just go out the door into the hallway and just open up one of the deck plates and go straight down to check the feeds.
While Captain does that, Woe is going to lean over and touch his panel, his comm panel. Crook, come to the bridge.
Okay. So let's work this out because we have a lot going on here. There is trouble in sickbay. The captain is attempting repairs and is likely to be intruded upon by a Hemhoch. And I don't know whether anyone else will want to have more character moments, but we'll kind of split things up. Actually, I think that the best place would actually be to go down to sickbay because rule of drama.
GM just did a whole bunch of rolls without saying anything.
It's fine. It's fine.
I'm worried.
It's fine. Don't worry. It's fine.
There's something going on over there.
It's okay. It's okay.
Don't look directly at it. Nothing happened.
Yeah. The GM was rolling around, which, God damn it. Okay. Let's see. So, as combat continues and people are working both in the bridge and engineering to keep the ship to keep the ship standing, one of you is just struggling to keep a crew member alive. Kresik, there have been noticeable power disruptions as part of the complication that I purchased earlier, and they are beginning to affect or there are some signs of power issues in some of the life support systems that are specifically, or rather the specific machinery that is helping to keep Traven's autonomic systems function, essentially maintain like some level of cardiovascular and brain activity. This is starting to look somewhat more dire.
All right, I need to do a scan on him to see how much time I have.
I will give you that. Reason and medicine, difficulty 1. I think given the current power disruptions, I don't believe the ship would be assisting you right at this moment.
Makes sense. Emergency medicine would work
Absolutely.
as a focus.
Yep.
What about supernatural studies?
Not yet. That's
Not
after
yet.
he dies.
Yeah.
Okay. You have scored 3 successes on that task, which was 2 more than was needed. I do think since it's been a little while, I am not going to expand the pool of momentum, because I think it would be natural to say that some depleted in the time since we were there. But the GM is still giving you a full pool of momentum to play with, so do with that as you will. In any case, from what your sensor readings are showing you, it is an unusual interplay that is going on, because while the the Klingon machinery that and like the equipment that you have mechanically that is working to help stimulate certain functions and keep Traven alive is functioning properly. It seems as though as their functions degrade, it seems as though secondary impacts of some of the medical tools that you have or medicines are reacting in an unusual way, somewhat with the. It's an interplay of the Trill's physiology and that of the entity, this symbiote that resides within him. This is not something that you have ever had to work with, and while you have begun studies on what Traven is and how they exactly interrelate, he's been very open about this. It is not, however, something that you were fully prepared to deal with, and Traven, with even these slight disruptions, are beginning to send him into a sort of vicious cycle where there is a buildup of compounds and chemicals that seem to be toxic to him. You are working at a point of you're probably getting down to like minutes if you don't intervene carefully, but even then it's uncertain how much time that you will buy if things aren't working properly, let alone a proper cure is developed or remedy.
So I start looking at the data and I'm staring at no. I need more time. The independent power supply. And I would like to spend 2 of those momentum to create an advantage.
All right.
And that advantage is that we have remember those stasis pods from way back in the day?
From the pilot.
Yes, from our pilot episode. I would like to create the advantage that we have a fully functioning stasis pod.
I would be willing to give that to you for 2 momentum. I'll even say it is, if not in sickbay, it is adjacent to it.
So I'm like, the stasis pods. And I get ready to come, and I like, no. They're both busy. Krisic, to whoever can help me move this thing. I need this pod into my sickbay now.
Whoa, responds immediately. On it.
And Woe will, as the captain is off the bridge, Woe will immediately leave her post, leaving Dekoth to man tactical. Uh, a scarcely a minute passes. I guess for the advantage, we could say that the pod was moved to something relatively nearby. Would you, um, I guess, let me, well, we'll play with the flow of the scene, and we can say that it's actually maybe still down in the cargo bay because while repaired, it just hasn't been useful, and maybe you need to go down in order to move that. Um,
That is fine by me.
yeah.
Wait, is
What?
Crocker still in the transport bay, or has he made it to the
Croker,
bridge yet?
Woe, you are 2 ships in the night with Croker. You are like as you make your way through the neck of the ship, Croker is like fluffing his hair and um, making sure his impeccable dress is in order. Has a kit, has his repair kit and a little spring in his step.
Like,
Yeah,
imagine
yeah.
if you and Croker were like the same person, you'd never like pass each other. You know, really wild thought. But if that were the case,
Yep.
you just never end up actually
Yeah.
seing yourself.
You've never seen Croker and Woe in the same place at the same time. The GM lied.
I didn't know the changelings were already here.
Anyway, well, I guess first, Kresic, are you going down to the cargo bay to meet Woe, or do you have Woe come up to meet you first in order to explain the situation?
No, I tell her to meet me in the cargo bay.
Okay.
I don't have time to explain.
Yep. Okay. So theater of the mind. It's a just do it moment. You, let's see. Well, by the time you sprint down the corridor, keeping your head ducked low, so as your 9 foot tall physique will not leave your head pounding into any of these. You're already dealing with enough pain as it is upstairs. But by the time you make it to the cargo elevator, the door opens and Kressik's form, who himself has to maintain a bit of a hunch, as with all of you taller members of the crew, um, he has made it just in time to greet you in the elevator, and you have the opportunity to go down together.
What's
Those
the
days.
issue?
Traven's dying. Need to get him into this pod. Need to get this pod to sick bay.
All right, no more needs to be said. Let's go.
Yep. So a few minutes, or like a very little time elapses. It honestly, however much it is, it just blends together, especially for you, Kresik, as you focus only on the means that can be used to save your patient. Your footfalls coming one after the other, pounding on the deck plates. You make your way to the cargo bay where the pod is located, and you begin heaving with Woe on one end and yourself on the other to move the pods up. Because you've just bought this advantage, I will not have you roll. Simply say that you managed to navigate the corridors and make your way to the elevator. In the in the brief time you have for the ride back up from the sub deck to the crew deck, you have time to begin checking the basic sort of diagnostics. A quick look at the power systems. Yes, this will be adequate. This will do.
Mr. GM, sir.
Yes.
I'm on the subdeck, so I don't know if I'm gonna notice the banging and swearing of the Kazin and Gorn as they handle this thing from the cargo bay onto the elevator.
I imagine that. I imagine, of course, that the. Well, allow me to ask a clarifying question before I say for certain on that matter.
Okay.
Tabak, when you were going to check the disruptors, were you saying that you were checking like the area immediately, like inside the forward deck, like with the mounts, or are you going back into the neck somewhere to look for a problem?
There are access panels to get down into the subdeck all through that main corridor on the main deck. So I was just gonna pop one of those, crawl down there, and check the feeds because each one of them has their own EPS feed dedicated directly to them. So that was my first thing that I was going to do, was just make sure that the feeds were all right.
Well, and if you would like to be involved with that scene in some way, then I suppose
I just wanted to know if I was aware of them doing this.
you may at least have a or like a passing awareness that there's other activity on the deck. You probably are
Yes,
so
sir.
engrossed in what you were doing in the weeds, or EPS grid as it were, that you don't
Same thing.
know quite what's going on. But yeah.
All right, just wanted to be sure. Thank
Yep.
you, sir.
So, yeah, in those few moments before you rejoin, or before you make it back up to the crew deck and to your sick bay, um, would the two of you exchange any words, Woe and Kresic?
Oh. I'm trying to think of what I would want to say. She looks to Kresic seriously. Is he going to die?
No. I will not let him die.
Sometimes death can be a mercy, Kresic. Oh.
I think on that note, the door opens as you quietly ponder your those small words exchanged between you, and you make your way into the crew deck, where you heft the stasis pod once more, and after some close quarters, some tight navigation, you make your way into the medical bay, where Traven is beginning to sputter and even writhe slightly. His condition is getting worse quickly, Doctor.
All right. Well, I hope the pod is as ready as can be, and I'm going to load him into this stasis pod and program it to activate.
Okay. You lift you as carefully as you can. You lift the injured Trill into the stasis pod, and you place him in, closing the pod and engaging it. The systems kick in very quickly. This pod, this device that had been used for such horrible purposes when you first learned of their existence, to preserve people as if they were goods, is now set to work as a life-saving instrument. And hopefully someday soon you can open it again. But until then, Draven Lex, the ship's cook, will remain here until he can be saved. You at least have that moment, but even with that, the ambience of sickbay is somewhat disrupted, not just by the stress of this situation, but by the fact that lighting and other systems continue to flit occasionally and show signs of disruption from whatever conflict has gotten underway.
Yeah, I mean to ask Will about that. Are we about to blow up again?
I mean, if you think about it, have we ever not been about to blow up? You know, there's only ever. I don't know. She sighs. I don't actually know. I imagine the captain's fixing it.
I see. If there is anything I can do from down here, let me know, but I need to tend to my patient, if possible.
Woe nods. She starts to leave, but then she kind of turns around and she says, "Why?" She looks. Why did we have Rolda's other part in the closet instead of like in the brig or anything?
He's like turning back around to start monitoring the life signs. When that happens, he just stops. And he turns. We had what?
I mean, we don't have it now. It's on the asteroid.
Oh, I unless you would like to continue with this, Kresic, I think that this is the dramatic cutaway
This
moment.
is indeed
Yep.
the dramatic cutaway moment.
Just Kresic turns around, the entire like outline around him, it goes black, and behind his eye shields it just glows red.
My boy!
You
There's
just
my
had
boy!
to start some shit.
I needed to. Okay, it had to happen.
There was no reason to do that.
But okay, there was though. It's because I want to see Kresic mad.
Yeah, I know. I know.
Yep.
Gonna
So
You need the room for sending my son! My boy!
yeah. So let's see.
No, my boy.
While this is going on, I think Tabak would be the next logical scene to visit, and the moment with Krokir there. Um, Joe, if you have anything that you want to do with Azik, please let me know, and we can make a hop back to the bridge for whatever happens. If not that, I'm sure you will be present for something that is about to go down.
Oh, to be clear, if Croker is not going to go visit the captain in the engineering pit, he's going to go directly.
I'm not
to
in the engineering pit.
Where are you? Are you in the hall? Are you going to bump into him?
I'm in the sub deck below the bridge.
Where's the transporter room? Is it on the subdeck?
The transporter room,
it's on the crew deck.
Yes.
Okay, well then they're not going to bump into each other. He's going directly to the bridge.
Yeah, unfortunately for me, the transporter is right next to the captain's quarters.
Yeah. I mean, to be clear, Croker, by the time you make it to the bridge, it could very easily be done that or rather, Azik, if you would like, you could have told Croker where the captain went and what engineering-related things needed to be done. I guess, was that the intent?
But she didn't. She just said, "Come to the bridge."
Oh, fair enough.
Oh, I wanted Croker to scan the asteroid or the base or whatever.
Okay.
The colony.
I misinterpreted intent there, so I will.
Well, it is,
Yeah.
It is the shit stirrer, so it's easy to misinterpret exactly what shit she wanted stirred.
Yep. So anyway, we'll touch base then. Captain, what we'll do for this, we'll just use the theater of the mind set here, since while we have the corridor, we don't have precisely that location. So yes, you are down in the subdeck immediately below the bridge. There's access to the independent EPS conduits for each disruptor, and I imagine you could, at least for the immediate cannons, you could assess some of the. You could probably run some form of diagnostic in order to suss out what issues could be going on here. So
yeah, there are some computer panels, access panels down there that I can use to double check and see what's going on with that.
Yep.
Is that going to be a control and engineering check?
I think that as far as determining the status of things, this will start as this is going to start as insight and engineering in order to try to get a sense of the problem. Okay, that would be 2 successes, and I had not given you a difficulty there, so in that spirit, I will be generous and just allow you the 2 successes here.
Your magnanimity is astounding, sir.
Yep. So, as far as the EPS conduits themselves go that are supplying both disruptors, you don't actually detect any signs that they themselves are defective. It does seem like they are being drawn on in a larger amount, or like there's some power loss that is coming from the disruptors, but it's not rooted in the EPS system itself. It suggests more a problem with the disruptors themselves.
All right. So that's a quick check. So I'm probably scrambling back up to the bridge then to get to one of the outboard areas next to the bridge, because that's where the cannons are at
Okay.
that point. So I would fix that. They're probably still banging around down there on the elevator. I would climb back up, unfortunately run into Croker, and go and check the disruptor cannons as much as I can, seeing as the bulk of them are on the exterior of the ship.
Yes, I will. For our purposes, I will go ahead and move us onto the bridge set, um, where we can say you are off to the side. So yes, you find yourselves on on the main bridge right now, where and like quickly darting between that, Croker has entered the room and seems to be positively beaming. Azek has, unless he says otherwise, well, actually, yeah, good question. Azek, would you leave the con and take or rather, would you leave the helm position and take the con properly, or would you prefer to stay at your post?
Because we're in the middle of a kind of a conflict, Azek would stay at the helm, doing the best he can to keep the ship basically stable and ready to go when the captain orders.
Ever the professional. Well, yes. Croker has entered the bridge. You see Dekoth, Azek, and Vopri are at their posts. Woe has left. You have no idea where. And yes, you just make your way around the around each area to check the disruptors.
More die rolls?
Uh, One more, yes. Or I suppose you could piggyback off of the other one and just spend a momentum to obtain information, whatever is to your liking. I will say this is probably going to be more. I'll say at this point you've pulled out a scanner to make some of this analysis here, and that would make
Yeah,
it.
you kind of have to at this point.
Yeah, reason. That would make it reason and engineering. I am going to up the difficulty to 3 for this task, however.
Or I can just spend a momentum and
Obtain the
only have 2
information. Yep.
successes.
Precisely.
All right, so I only have 2, so I need to get 3. Right, on 2 dice. Okay.
You do have momentum, and you could always just spend a point, buy an extra die, or you could spend some. You spend momentum to make it.
Yeah, I know. Oh,
Could Croker assist in this?
Oh, Croker, I'm sure could definitely assist if they wanted to take the
Croker
initiative.
would be more than willing to assist.
Yep.
If you needed a little extra boost.
Yep. Woe
and the
didn't.
weapon.
Yep. Woe didn't actually give you any orders, so this would be. It is your prerogative to do what you think would be most helpful on the bridge.
So I'm going to spend a momentum to get 3 dice, please.
Oh,
Is this insight and engineering still?
This is switched over to reason because you are scanning the cannons and trying to get an assessment from your position there.
Okay, and I'm gonna, as I've got my head stuck in a panel with the scanner and everything, and I'm just gonna shout over my shoulder, "Whoa, check the weapon systems," because I didn't even register that she wasn't there. How do I not register a 9-foot tall orange space kitty? I don't know, but I was too busy, so I didn't register it, and I just call out to Woe to check the weapon systems from her console that she's supposed to be standing at.
Dekoth kind of looks at it a bit puzzled, looks to Vopri, looks to Azek, looks to Croker.
Croker, who has snuck up directly behind the captain, leans over the captain's back and says, "I'm on it. Woe's not here right now. It's just you and I," ignoring everybody but but him, the captain.
Oh, no.
And I really resist elbowing him in the face. Get out from behind me and check the damn scanners, or check the damn weapons.
Yeah,
Alright,
the last time you tried to do that, Tabak,
it
you
didn't
wound
go
up
too well for you, buddy.
Shut up!
you wound
Don't
up a
remind me.
little.
Don't remind me. Don't remind me.
You wound up in a you wound up at close range there. Oh,
All right.
anyway, for that I will say, Croker, you may roll a reason and engineering to assist.
All right.
Okay. Well, I got my 3.
Yes, you did. And while you are doing this, that is, I'm also going to go ahead and conduct some rolls here. So let's see, the squad's going to act there. Um, so, Captain, with your 3 successes, and with Croker assisting, giving you a 4th success, you meet the difficulty, and you earn back the point of momentum you spent, which I don't think... no, you did drop it. So, Raldar, if you want to draw the point, then go right ahead.
We had 4.
Oh,
yeah, I
well,
already took one out for
He
this
dropped
one.
it, so we're back up to 4.
GM's mistake, then. That's fine.
No worries.
All right, so as this is going on, Captain, you're finding that with the sustained barrages of disruptor fire, there are some issues with the disruptor coils themselves, a few imperfections that were missed in the initial uploading or rather installation. It is such that you know that when you are out of combat, and able to get into them, you could fairly easily extract this. This would actually be a simple matter of EVA and doing a little bit of machining work to contend with these imperfections. However, in the current circumstance you are in, there is a risk that with current disruptor use, there may be a bit more additional draw in order for them to... Basically, they are requiring more power to transfer the full blast of the disruptor fire.
In electrician's terms, we've got a little extra resistance.
Pretty much.
Okay,
yeah.
So.
I thought resistance was futile.
Only to only to Swedish people.
Goicha.
So I will relay that particular bit of information to Raldar and have him adjust power flows until we can get that fixed.
Oi, Captain.
Well, let's see. The Creel aren't doing so well there, so let's see what...
Really? Who would have thought?
Is this, what's his name, Zional's fault?
Oh, the crappy weapons? Probably.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Hey.
That little slime ball.
The disruptors were the worst quality, and you guys were the ones that asked them to be installed.
No, my God.
Oh no.
Oh, no.
So just to give you an idea of what's going on, your boy down there is going into combat. There are some rolls going on separately here. Dar has rolled a complication as well as a failure on that. So I guess the question would be, would you like for him to accept a narrative complication, or would you like the GM to take some threat here?
What would it take to buy it off with momentum?
2 momentum. You may pick that as an alternative as well.
Anybody got a problem with that for now?
That maniac some juice.
Yeah. Okay. So, Raldar, drop 2 momentum, please, and we're going to ignore that complication. I'm hoping to whatever gods there may be that first set of rolls that you did, all quiet like over on the side, that with no fanfare. I'm hoping that was his initiation of the bloodbath.
No, that was the Creel saboteurs that snuck on board the ship, obviously.
Don't give him ideas.
The clone has not been doing so well with the initial rounds here. So,
ladies and gentlemen, the clone has left the building.
Let's see. All right. So,
my boy.
Now begins the Clone Wars.
The Clone Wars have begun. Anyway,
I'm disappointed in all of you right now.
My boy started going to economics. Don't you do this to him.
Oh dear, oh dear. Anyway,
Croker, why are you on the bridge?
I was led to believe you asked for me personally.
Who called you to the bridge?
Oh, the big one, you know, the soft one, the one that's always in my face.
Whoa. I see. Go over to my chair, hit the comm panel. Whoa. Where are you?
I think that this would be the perfect moment for the bridge doors to open, if everyone's game for that. Would that be?
Oh, yes.
Well, I guess, Rev, would you also be interested in very suddenly being on the bridge?
Rev is heading to the weapons storage.
Oh, no!
Would you have? Would you like to have made the stop by weapons storage? But well, let's get this in order. Just so I have a sense. Whoa, have you followed Kresic to the to weapons storage?
I think I'm gonna try and bear hug him and then just carry him to the bridge while he's yelling,
Oh,
presumably.
Well, hissing.
Hissing.
I think
Thrashing.
that. I. The thing is, it could be an interesting moment here. So, let's see. I'm trying to think of the best way to make this work without creating anything overly railroady or anything of the sort. I suppose, would you be interested in some sort of roll off in order to do what you need to?
If the story would be more interesting if I appear on the bridge, I am more than happy to appear on the bridge.
Would you be armed?
No, no more than
Okay.
standard.
I was fine with trying to walk down to the weapons storage with you and then just making an attempt to carry you back to the bridge.
Well, I mean,
Up to you.
Raldar would not resist, I think, going to the bridge with you at that point. So I don't
mean
think you
Kresic?
need to be carried.
Kresic.
Or Kresic, yeah. My apologies. I should not mix up the gore.
Wow. Do giant lizards all look the same to you?
I guess so. You're
went
you're the
there.
dragons
You went-
part of Dungeons and Dragons, right?
That's correct.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't forget
Well-
my fire breath. You know.
Yes,
I do plan to use that when I get to the bridge.
Kresic is certainly about to breathe fire. So in that case, yeah, Kresic, stop by weapons locker. Woe, you will have been alongside him. He is not resisting going to the bridge. Indeed, he seems to be heading exactly that direction. So the bear hugging is entirely optional if you want to attend to that. But I do think that that would constitute a grapple.
Oh, it would totally constitute a grapple. She's just walking alongside him. I don't advise. Oh God, that was not my voice. I don't advise you to go in there guns a blazing, literally, or you know.
I am not a fool.
I never said you were a fool, but you are looking very testy. A little bit twitchy. I don't know. I don't like the way you're looking. I think maybe you should just breathe for a second.
I am thinking very clearly and breathing very well.
Have some water.
Okay, so you are.
You're also enunciating very clearly.
Okay, so at this point, I think that conversation would have extended up to the door to the bridge. So just before the door dramatically opens, when Tabak has the audio line going and shouting out, "Whoa, where are you?" Are you making any immediate attempt to grapple, or do you wish to see how this plays out first?
Let's see how this plays out first. I am intrigued.
Okay, so the door opens, and Kresic, you and Woe enter the bridge. Tabak is manning the captain's post. Krokar very closely at his side.
What is this I hear about that monster still being allowed on board.
It's not on board right now. What are you worried about?
It's what?
It's not on board.
Don't. No. Don't tell me.
Woe places a hand on Kressik's shoulder. Like, I did try to tell you, mate. It's on the station. Probably eating some squatters.
Do you have any idea what you've done?
Put a barely controlled biological weapon into the middle of my enemies? Yes.
I was a fool.
Doubtful.
I was a barely controlled biological weapon.
Mhm.
And you see no problem with this?
Not particularly. What is your problem, Doctor?
Do you have any idea what that does? There are lines. If you want to kill your enemies, you do it, but not monsters like this that are bred, that are created just to destroy, to kill, without thought, without conscience. They do not deserve to exist. I did not sacrifice everything to watch this happen again, and I am going to stop this, and if you wish to stand in my way, you are welcome to try, but I am going down to that station, and I am ending this creature! And I turn and leave.
Woe follows him.
Good idea. I'm a little on the shock side. Because this is obviously some deep backstory stuff that I don't know about. So.
Deepest lore.
Which room are we staying in? Are we following Kresik or are we following Captain's?
Azek just takes a
Kresik
bite
just
out of
left.
a hot pocket.
GM, how aware am I of this?
Well, I don't believe the captain has kept an open comm line with has the captain kept an open comm line with engineering through this entire situation?
No.
So, okay, then Raldar remains in blissful ignorance.
I've told Raldar about the problems with the disruptor cannons and how we have to readjust the power output to them to avoid brownouts throughout the rest of the ship.
Brown out.
But yeah, I just there's no need to keep the comm line open. So
Before we do anything else here, allow me to ask one question for those on the bridge. Would you object to Vopri spending 1 point of momentum? I have a sensors test for him that it will go up to a maximum difficulty of 4. So I'm looking
fine,
to.
go ahead.
He does have cautious in science, so that would allow him to re-roll anything if it goes awry, and possibly net you more momentum. The ship will also assist with sensors and science.
All right, so let me roll the ship here.
All right, let me.
Oh dear, he only rolls 1 success there. But cautious does allow him. I'm attempting to remember whether that is the entire pool or the.
You can reroll as much as you want.
Okay, I forgot how far they'd gone with those revisions, so I'll re-roll those 2 zeros.
There's one from the ship.
Guisha!
2, 4, 6. 6 successes.
Mopry, the homie.
Yep, so
I
that will
like
net you.
I'm happy I freed him.
Yep. So Captain, as the doctor and Woe, well, as the doctor storms off after roaring at you with a very clippable monologue, and I do say yes, somebody absolutely clip that. That's some good shit there, Rev. Matter of fact, I'm giving you an extra point of momentum for excellent role play.
All right.
How many more are we gaining here?
I have given you 3 points in total.
All right.
So
awesome.
I've already awarded them.
Thank you.
Vopry turns to you and okay, Captain.
Yes.
I have constructed a sensor. I'm starting to construct more of a sensor model. I believe I have sense of the biosigns. The creature I have detected in the staging area now. It appears to be in proximity to at least 2 Creel. I am tracking others, but they are interspersed through what I believe to be a mine area. I will
Put it on
switch.
screen.
Okay, so once again bringing up the cursor. And allow me to move that here because alright, so has now entered this zone here. And yes, we will do the color changes. So this is now orange. This now turns to yellow. You monsters. Make the GM have an interactive color changing display. How dare you?
Yay!
Is there any way to make tiny little dots to show us where the Creel are?
How dare you?
God.
No, you're asking for a lot now. You're asking for a lot now.
Don't ask me for anything ever again.
Just a dot. I mean, you don't need a picture. Just like a little dot.
Oh,
Okay.
shut up.
All right. Fine. Here. You get you know, Klingons like red so much now. So let's see.
Oh, so now we have red dots on the red background.
No, you
Brilliant.
get blue
for the Creel.
blue squares.
Oh man, this really is the 23rd century.
Yeah. Look, high quality graphics.
Oh, this is great.
I'm hearing the sound effects from Pong.
Yep. Yeah, this is we're steps ahead of Wrath of Khan era graphics, which I guess
just a snake.
Yep. Anyway.
Now, okay, here's
the
life. The rest of it.
I believe life signs are detected, and you will just have to imagine the dots. I am detecting at least 3 in the central, or in this. Well, there's 1. 3 in this central node here. It appears to have quite a bit of power, or like power and computer connections. If I'm reading this right, I believe it may be a command center. There are others in an area here outside the cargo store. Well, what I believe may be a cargo storage section, or possibly a habitation area. It is difficult to tell. But I put at least 5 there, 3 in the command area, 2 in the staging location, and then let's see. Apologies, Captain. I am trying to get the best sense of this as possible. Another 6 life signs, 2 in what appears to be a utility section, another 2 in the in a mess area, and then one in a corridor moving towards the staging zone. So
Have you had any success
I've
in
here.
tapping into their computer system?
I am afraid not, Captain. They are not
No remote access.
none that I can discern. Creel ships, they are uh, difficult to establish this linkage with.
What about the base itself?
The base does seem to be of Creel design. It would seem that it was excavated and there are compartments built up throughout the base section.
All right. Well, just keep an eye on him. If his life signs begin to flag, we'll have to beam him back.
If I near as I can discern, he is being knocked around. But I don't know. I can't tell that from computers here. What do you expect me to be able to achieve? And another alarm blinks on his console. Captain, warp signature detected. Intercept within approximately 40 minutes or whatever is equivalent Klingon measure of time. I remember that there is actually a distinct one, but I don't recall what it is, so I'm just going with the
Just using
translation.
minutes because that's what we know.
The warp signature is consistent with the other Creel ships, but from this range I can discern it is something larger. Atypically large for a Creel vessel.
So their shields are down. Can we beam something into that command center?
With difficulty, yes.
Croker.
Yes, darling.
Excuse me?
Captain. Yes, Captain.
Take a couple of grenades and drop them into the middle of that command center.
I'd be delighted. Okay.
And with that, Croker begins to make his way off the bridge. And you...
That at least gets him away from Taylor.
Yep.
Yeah.
You stare out ahead at the asteroid that has proven somewhat more troublesome than you were expecting in terms of its extracting. So
especially with a really big Creel ship on the way.
Yep. So we will cut for a moment to an exterior shot of the Yon, this Klingon Raptor, and the Talonor system, staring down the large asteroid where this errant Creel base has otherwise conflicted with a Klingon mining claim, and you have naturally resorted to very brutal methods in order to counteract it. So brutal, however, that one member of your crew has extreme concerns about it. So I think, since we do not yet have a proper transporter room set, I guess we'll be going to rejoin the Doctor and Woe here in a moment. Before that, I suppose I should ask, before we leave anything else, let's see. First, Azik, was there anything that you would have wanted to interject on the bridge, or are you just content to sit back here and let things play out? Oh.
Is he back?
Oh, I had not seen
I
him
think he stepped
leave.
away.
Okay, never mind then. In that case, Roldar, with with limits on what you can do as far as handling some of the other systems, is there anything else that you want to try and do right now? So if nothing else, I might have a way that would make sense for you to get involved, but I just want to touch base with you first.
I would like a way to get involved.
Okay, well, it's definitely going to come to that in a moment because nobody's consulted you about the idea of trying to use the transporter system from where you're having to route power around. So let us cut to the elsewhere on the ship. I think that we established transporter room was on the crew deck, and
Yes.
the first to arrive in the transporter bay, I imagine, um, would be Woe and Kresic. Or would I be correct in guessing that was where you were headed, Doctor?
Yes.
Okay, very good. So, uh, Kresic, you are the first to enter the transporter room, followed very closely, I imagine, by a concerned Woe.
Also, from the weapons storage, I did pick up a disruptor rifle, by the way. So feel
Understood.
free to take
I will take
what is needed for that.
a couple points of escalation, although frankly, I should. Well, I'm going to take this separately because you deserve to pay me quite a bit of threat for dropping friggin' Nemesis into these people's laps.
We already paid you for that.
You did, and
And now we're
Yeah.
paying again.
I'm taking a separate thing for the disruptor rifle. So yeah, I suppose the situation is escalated. Anyway, yeah. So you both arrive in the transporter room. I'll let you take it from here. Describe what you were trying to do. Anything you would want to do from here?
Can you work one of these?
She looks at the panel and walks over and stands behind it. Yeah, I could.
Ah, yes, a transporter. Woe's favorite.
Mm. She looks at Kresic, kind of cocks her head and says, "Did you mean everything that you said back there on the bridge?"
Of course.
So it's a soulless thing that you have to put out of its misery.
That thing is designed to only cause death and misery and anything that devotes its existence to doing that
She cocks
does
her
not
head the other
deserve
way.
to live.
Doesn't deserve to live, she repeats. She rounds the transporter oh my god, console and stands in front of Kresic before, like, just with the tip of her claw bringing the rifle barrel up and pressing it to her forehead. So, doesn't deserve to live. Go on then.
Put the gun down.
She presses her forehead harder into the edge of the barrel. No. If that's how you feel. She continues looking at him. Or is it just that one? It's not all of us.
I thought you of all would understand this thing. It isn't. There's no purpose to it. There's no. Put the gun down.
You're the one holding it. You can lower it any time. She smiles. I thought about killing it. It's so loud, and it's so unhappy. But that wasn't my place. Just as isn't yours. If
No.
that's how you feel.
No, this is my place.
Then do it. She presses her head forward. In fact, let me help you. Give you a little personal touch. She pulls out her Dikoth. Not Dikoth. Oh my
She
god.
pulls out a decoff.
She pulls out her Dikoth!
Surprise!
He looks at Kresic.
Oh, that's
Please
terrible.
don't tell me I have broken ribs.
No, she pulls out her TikTok and hands it to him, flips it so where the handle's facing him. Says, go on. Bares her throat for him. Come on.
You really don't understand.
Do you?
Too well.
Mm.
Now, are you going to get me on that ship? Or are we going to keep playing this game?
Mm. Roll to break the transport panel.
As I think, just as you do, or like before this gets too action heavy, the door opens and Croker steps in with a couple of grenades. You find yourself on the site with a number of arms arrayed between the very tall lizard doctor and the very tall cat lady. Um, Although all seemingly aimed at her and like the tensest of atmospheres.
I'm gonna have to ask you guys to take this somewhere else. I need access to the transporter pad.
Perfect. So do I. Get me on that station.
Whoa, do you still want to break the transporters?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to call this daring and security with a difficulty of. I'm thinking that. So I think I'm going to set the difficulty on this to. Actually, I'm going to change this here because my thinking was to make this a melee check, but I think it would actually be more appropriate to make this a fitness check, since there isn't really stats for the console. It's just you using raw strength in order to do something here. So, yeah, fitness and security with a difficulty of, let's call this 3.
Okay, and can I use a value?
What value did you have in mind?
You are the monster's other make you.
I think that's an excellent value. Are you using it for the automatic critical success?
Yeah.
Okay, make the roll then. With 2 successes and the automatic critical success, Woe, describe to me how you... are you breaking the transporter controls, or are you going ham on the buffer, the pads?
Sorry, the way you said that made me laugh. Um. Sorry.
Always count
I'm
me as a
just so
GM.
sorry. I'm just imagining a little cat like beating up on me.
This whole episode is the GM undercutting very excellent dramatic role playing and moments by my players.
Listen, I said I pull out her Decoth, okay? This is not you're not undercutting anything. Let me ask for this real quick. What would be harder to fix? The panel or the transporter pads? Because I'm thinking the pads.
Pads would definitely take some time, but if they get a segment of the pads working, that would be relatively quick to. Or I mean, then they could start beaming at least individually there. The controls, if they were disrupted, that would definitely make things harder, but it could possibly be accessed from somewhere else. I think that the transporter pads themselves are the more. Um, it's a lot harder to damage. I guess I think that you would just meet the level of success because of the auto crit to where you could damage the pads and just start tearing things up there, and that would be more extensive repairs. Yeah,
Mm,
I guess I'll lean into that.
to the pads.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, that's a little different. Let's see.
So
I would like to yank the rifle out of his hand and shoot them because he's directly in my way.
well, Kresic, would you mind terribly, since this was I was envisioning this as more of a physical check, so just
Oh, right. Yes, sorry. Go ahead. Never mind.
between
All
your
right.
relative size and strength, and with 4 successes on the board, you can you have license to wreck shit physically if you want to rampage.
I really.
I'm just looking for description.
All right. I kind of want to pick Kresik up and slam his body into the pads. Hmm. Can I do that, or would I have to contest that Kresik with that?
I feel like anything that risks doing damage to a player is also kind of different.
All right, fine.
Yeah. Not
All
that
right.
I mean you may roll after you do so to go after Kresik in a rage if you so wish. Like
I think she'll. Okay, she's gonna go a bit calmly, more calm than I think she should. But anyways, so she lowers the barrel that she lifted to her head, and she sheathes her guitar or guitar. I can't speak today.
yeah.
Bye, Dekoth.
And yeah, she sheathes her Dekoth. Um, and does a circle around him and says something along the lines of "Well, it looks like I just can't help myself. I'm just a monster who's just here to destroy." And with that, she lifts her leg and stamps down on the pad as hard as she can, shattering it. Says, "I'm just a mindless, soulless creature." And she shatters the other one. How many do we have, by the way? 3?
There's like yeah, I'll say that like there's the 3 floor pads, and then you know how like the wall in the transporter room has uh like half a dozen of the sort of wall like glass like wall panels.
Yeah.
There's
Alright.
it's a whole thing. You're tall enough that you
Alright.
could reach the ceiling pods as well and start like cracking those.
Alright. She extends to her full height. You pressing like using her muscles to just smash the ones with just the pressure of her head. She's like, "I'm nothing but a fucking vessel for violence." And she punches out the sides of the panels. Isn't that right, Kresik?
As she says this, I would say at least Croker would notice that the transporters are not sparking up nearly as much as you would expect given the sheer vicious level of destruction being waged here. That being said, with each stomp of her foot, with each like throw of the fist, there is considerable like the yellow, slightly more dimly lit than usual, but the yellowish glass panels of each transporter segment like crack, sparkle, spatter, and just some begin falling out of place. Bits of conduit are like cabling are sticking out. As it continues, it gets into a little less surface level damage, and I dare say at least one buffer goes flying across the room. But Croker, the grenades you're holding do not seem like they're going to make it onto that station anytime soon. But yeah. Otherwise, Kresik, you just watch Woe just completely rip out like rip through the transporter room, and causing massive issues. For Croker's part, I'll say real quick, You could call security, but woe is security, so that's yeah. I'll say at this point too, Raldar, you can make your way into the scene in a moment, I'm sure, but you are just now noticing in engineering that damage reports are beginning to spit out to you in your engineering computer from the transporter room.
What
Yeah.
the hell is happening in the transporter bay?
So you'll start making your way there, I'm sure. But otherwise, yeah, Kresic, you watch at like Woe's violent as well.
Are you done?
She steps off the pads, now shattered at her feet. She spits. Yeah, she says. Yeah, we're done. She pushes past him and leaves.
Um, do I'm sure Croker doesn't make any it doesn't make any effort to stop them. Do you, Kresic?
Nope.
Okay. All as Woe passes by. A very short time later, they probably even see each other on the cargo elevator. Or Raldar getting off and Woe coming on. Um, the ship's engineer steps into the transporter room, and you just find that the emitters have been absolutely ripped to shreds.
What the hell happened here? My Kalis, it looks like this place got ripped apart by an animal.
It got ripped apart by our crewmate, my patient.
Thinking, I did just see what. Whoa?
Apparently, she did not want me to beam down aboard that station and take care of the problem.
What problem? Has the captain ordered a boarding?
Don't patronize me. You know that there is a creature down there that needs to be stopped.
What are you talking about? The captain hasn't been giving me much information besides I'm having to run around and fix everything. So,
That monster that's been on board is down there. And now, more than ever, there's no way to keep it under control. Now, is there?
monster. Are you talking about our new passenger?
If you wish to call it that.
Why is he on the station?
You mean you didn't know?
No.
The captain thought it wise, humorous, to beam him down to that station to deal with these aliens aboard it.
Waldar does a little wide eye. His own growl coming in. I think I might kill that captain. But I just need you to get out of my way then. Because We're not much of a condition to start landing on that thing, and I need that transporter working if we're going to get him back.
Very well. If there's anything I can do to assist, otherwise I will be preparing.
You do that.
Understood. And I head out back to my sick bay to start collecting supplies.
I have to imagine at this point Croker was slumped behind the transporter console.
Hiding.
Possibly. I don't know. Well, given the intermix of the of Betty and Croker, obviously there's some call to Klingon honor there, especially where it concerns his aspirationally future husband. But um, what do you think? Would Croker have made his presence known, or would it like? I mean,
Whoa,
Whoa.
lost internet.
Yeah, well,
Oh,
lost internet.
oh no, oh
Yeah.
no. Well, in that case, GM is going to like call the like as a point of discretion. I will say that Croker was hunched down, not so much in fear, but in partly like not wanting to get sparks in his eyes as Woe tore apart the transporter room and like strategically
though.
Yes.
Quick question though. Our two Gorn were having this conversation. Were they speaking Klingonese? Or were they speaking to each other in Gorn?
I would imagine Raldar probably doesn't know Gorn.
I don't know, Gorn.
Elsewhere, the like Raldar begins repairs on that, and yes, the conversation was held in Klingonese, and otherwise, I guess Woe is not something we can presently do much with since
Woe has returned.
Oh,
I'm back. My internet came back.
okay. Just for the record there, I don't know how much of the conversation you caught there. Choice words were used by the Gorn, and I had Croker hunched down behind the console, partly as a strategic move to duck from the toss of a bit of a transporter console, or like from Woe's rampage, basically. But there was a clear discussion of possibly murdering the captain.
Oh, okay. So we're there.
Yeah. Kresic has walked out of the room. Raldar is kind of at the edge and is effecting repairs to the transporter pad best as he can. But I've just had Croker basically stay in place. So if you want to just say that Croker just waits there for the immediate time, otherwise making a discreet exit, then it's up to you.
I think Croker would immediately want to warn the captain, his beloved, that the Gorn are going to kill him.
Nobody's killing the captain.
Sounds like something a captain killer would say.
Hey, I have stabbed many a captain, but I haven't killed any Klingon ones yet.
Yet. Yeah, the key word here is yet.
Yes. It was
I'm
more
not
of
going to kill T-Buck.
Yeah. It's more in the vein of
Croker doesn't know this.
One day
That
it was more in the vein of one day I may yet kill that captain, but I've got things to fix.
Yeah, that was the way the conversation went.
Yep.
Oh my god.
Aspirational.
Okay. Well, my boy here does not know this. My boy here has been a very limited time, and he does not like any threats to the love of his life.
Yep. So I guess for now, the Gorn have had their moment. We'll go back to the bridge here, and Woe, you, I guess. Well, actually, good question. Does Woe go back to the bridge after her little confrontation there?
Does she know about the incoming warp trails? Because I don't think she does.
She was not aware of that at this point.
You know what? I'm gonna send her to her quarters. She needs to cool off.
Okay. So we'll just cut back to the bridge. And we will, yeah, we'll just go from there. Let's see. So, Tabak, you've gotten back to the bridge after conducting what repairs you can, and after it sounded like some combination of your crew might be going down to the station. Um, but
I'm just like, at this point, I'm like, Croker, have you sent those grenades over yet?
Oh. Can Kerkur come running through the door?
let's see. I may allow that. I will. Let's see. I guess question would be, Raldar, would you, if Croker were to make an exit, would she have to do so discreetly, lest there be a conversation or something more intense, or would this be a situation where Croker could just slip away?
Oh, if Raldar would say something if he sees Croker.
All right. In that case, this is going to be a contested roll. Croker, fitness and security, please.
Oh
Raldar,
God.
insight and security.
All right.
Oh God, security's my weakest on Croker. Crap.
I believe you only rolled one die
One.
there. You can roll two.
Oh.
All right. The odds are not horribly in your favor either. Uh,
At, for the match there, because there were two individual successes from Croker and two from a single critical success from Raldar. How I'm going to rule this is, I think that you may have heard I think I'm going to rule that Kresic might have left the door open, and you might hear the errant close of the door, but you are already deep into the transporter system. So I think that there's the possibility somebody was in there, but you did not detect them. I think that is best for rule of drama, if that is okay with you.
Yeah, I think the aggressor wins ties. The initiator.
Yeah, and what's her face? Well, Croker would qualify in this case, I think. Or
I'll check, but I'm okay with this.
rather, I am thinking about that because technically Raldar is the one, albeit taking a passive listen, but Croker is the one sort of initiating the action to escape.
Yeah, like in
I'm
melee
fine.
combat, when it ties, the attacker wins. So I'm okay with the initiator winning ties.
Yeah, that works. Okay, so let's move things down to the bridge. Captain, you are about to check on the grenades as there's supposed to be an earth-shattering kaboom or something of that scale, but there's not been.
Yep.
So let's see. So yes, Croker appears on the bridge as you are looking to your comm panel.
Captain, a private word, please.
Don't exactly have time for that. Did you send those grenades over?
No, that's part of why I need the private word, Captain.
I don't want to be anywhere alone with this man. Corridor, now. Get up and go step into the corridor outside the bridge.
All right.
We are just hopping through so many sets today, everybody. It's exciting. It's
Great return session.
Yes, absolutely.
No, actually, it is.
It's pretty good.
Yes.
Okay, so on GM is we have Tabak and we have Croker, who I had quite a time moving things around, and I'm remembering to edit this out when we get to the actual thing. Let's see. when I have editing to do tomorrow.
Question for the GM regarding the ship.
Go right ahead.
Are there audio sensors in the hallway?
I imagine there would be, as there are different areas where there are different areas in the ship that have intercom systems that you'd be able to access.
This is probably going to get me fired or spaced, but
Space fired.
the whole conversation has kind of piqued Azek's interest, so he would like to pipe the conversation from the hallway into the bridge.
Do Klingons not have headphones? This is terrible. All
No,
right.
nobody has headphones.
Yeah.
Disgusting.
We don't even have cones of silence.
Oh,
I'll holler at the rest of the bridge. Anything you hear, keep it between us.
Dekoth, as the captain's loyal bodyguard, may be conflicted, but if he shows no signs, I'll leave that for someone else's agency as a supporting character. Vopry is content to keep as quiet as possible, or he simply says nothing. But yes, the door closes behind you, and you activate the audio from one of the other consoles. So you overhear as the captain and Croker talk amongst themselves.
Captain, there
What?
are dissensions in the ranks.
It happens.
The Gorn are plotting your imminent, unlovely demise, sir.
I don't have time to worry about that now. Get those grenades over there.
How are you so calm? Betty bursts out. You better get your ducks in a row, okay? This is not going to work. We are not going to find another man, all right? It's been a long time. We're sticking with you, but I'm not going to allow this. You better go apologize to them, Gorn. They don't like the fact that you sent their little buddy on a little, whatever, field trip onto
Silence.
this here station.
Silence. Get those grenades.
Do not
over
talk
there.
to me like that. Do not talk to me like that. Who do you think you're talking to?
I
She
punch,
does like a little hand wave in front of
I punch him in the face.
Oh my god. Betty remains perfectly fine.
Klingon ship.
Croker is down for the
Do
count.
not talk to the captain like that. Bam.
First off, who do you think you're hitting when you're hit? It's not going to go to me, jackass. All right, that's just not how it works. Okay. Second,
If Croker is laying down on the deck after being punched in the face, assuming that,
Yeah,
we're
let's
just gonna take that as
fluff this out a little bit.
Red kind of thing.
Croker is not contesting the attack, correct?
no, he's not.
Okay, so optional is whether you, if you want to roll for the chance of momentum. This is a difficulty 1 daring and security roll there, Tabak. But that will also allow you to roll damage for Croker.
I want you to know you're only knocking Croker out. Betty is still like a full-bodied woman standing in front of him.
Punched him right in the face. If he falls down, he falls down. And I turn my back and go back onto the bridge.
Okay.
Oh god, if only I could make
close
Betty.
But you
No,
can't.
this-
She's stuck where she is.
She is.
Stay there.
Oh wait. Hang on.
She has
Let
no
me-
physicality. She can't.
I mean, technically, as I understand it, and yes, correct me if I'm wrong here, Ray, but Betty projects out of Croker's eyes, does he not? Or does she not?
She does, but I'm trying to hang on. I have to private message you really quick.
All
I'm gonna
right.
go use the bathroom real quick then.
Yeah, go
Let
right
me-
ahead.
There's hang on.
So, I think that while this is going on, whatever, I presume that whatever you would want to discuss, though, would not impede Tabak from moving back to the bridge, would it not?
No, it wouldn't. I just want to see if Betty can move along with him.
Okay, I think that that will require some work in the computers. That is more like Betty might be able to follow as far as his eyes project, so long as they are still open. If he's like unconscious that way, or knocked back that way. Otherwise, I think that once he goes through the doors, that doesn't quite work.
Okay. You just hear a lot of muffled shouting through the door.
Oh,
Whoa!
unless
Oh no, but it would be projecting into the bridge.
Nope,
well,
can't go through the door.
well, here's the thing. Unless
Yeah,
Isaac has cut out the
but-
transmission, then you at least hear Betty.
Oh God.
Yeah, Isaac's got that thing on blast. Betty's just going, "You self-centered, no good, no, not." She's just lost for words. Just absolutely fighting.
The door is closed, and I'm still hearing this coming out of the bridge speakers.
Yeah, I know you all can hear me. I know you're not deaf.
Cut.
I
that
know
off.
Isaac's listening in
now.
on this conversation. I hear everything, and they're just like gone.
Yep, cut off mid-sentence.
Oh my god.
Isaac? Isaac,
Yes, Captain.
do that again, and I will kill you.
I've been dead before.
Isaac,
If it's if there's something going on with ship security, it's important
you
for us all
are
for safety.
my pilot. That is all right now. You are not involved in security. Do not listen in on my conversations without my permission. Fopri, is he all right?
Are we referring to the
Junior,
yes, Captain. Stand by. I am attempting to track biosigns. I believe it will be slightly easier for me to do so with the current analysis of the sensors. Then, well, let me see here if I can attempt to do so. I'm having more difficulties. It appears still.
can you work the transporter, Pat? Can you work the cargo transporter?
I have some slight experience with transporters.
Good.
Very little.
Nope.
Are we conducting a boarding action?
No, we were conducting a bombing action until something happened and Procure came back without having sent the grenades over into the command center.
Can I? This is very muffled. Well, if you listen to me, you know that big kitty cat stomped the pads.
There's maybe enough muffled sound to make it through to express that there is noise from out there, but it is not something that you can discern here.
Ugh.
I could attempt to. Can I not attempt to main? I can go back up to main transporter as well if there may be better resolution with that.
The
Or
if the
cargo
transporter is
transporters,
broken,
either way.
you can't use it. Cargo transporters are fine for sending grenades because the molecular resolution is fine for sending non-living things.
I see, Captain. I apologize, Captain. I will attempt to engage. Oh man. Um,
What did you do?
Take two. We're gonna get rid of the complication. Take two.
okay.
Momentum.
Very well. I will say that others have entered the staging area. It does. It appears as though the clone has not been as successful in neutralizing them to this point. It is still seemingly working on the individuals.
Whoa, where the bloody hell are you?
Hmm.
Oh.
I'm in my room, Captain. What do you want?
You're on duty. I need these fucking grenades, beamed over there. And apparently, you decided to go all ballistic on the transporter room.
I don't
What
think
of
that's
it?
been established, but
That's not been established. You don't know that.
Yeah,
you,
Betty said that.
Yeah, but
you-
you couldn't hear it.
I couldn't?
No.
you heard the muffled noise of Betty generally speaking.
Oh, okay. I didn't hear the actual words.
I'm sorry. I was I should have been
Okay.
clearer.
Okay, so then rewind a bit.
Yep.
Go again.
She's still not out at her post when she's supposed to be on duty or whatever.
Right. You are not at your post. I need these grenades beamed over there into that control room. Their shields are still down. Before they get them back up, I need the control center taken out. And Junior is having a hard time.
You're gonna have to use the disruptor cannons. It's your best shot. Because you don't have a transporter pad anymore.
Why?
Ask Krezik.
We have a cargo transporter. That's fine for the grenades.
Fine. Send Crocker down here.
Croker is currently unconscious outside the bridge because he pissed me off. Grenades. Beam them over there into the control center.
On it, Captain. She turns off her comm.
Happy
and goes
times
to do that.
Happy times on the good ship Jan.
Oh yeah, no, everyone's super happy. Everyone's totally stoked.
Everyone's pissed.
Everybody's so fucking pissed.
We're also happy. Everything is awesome.
Everything
I'm just standing there in my chair. I'm not even sitting. I'm just standing there, just fists clenched at both sides. I just put my head back and scream. You know, one of those good Klingon bellows.
I love that you're standing in your chair, like you like to be tall.
No. I didn't say that. I said I'm
You
standing.
did. You literally said that. It's
Act.
on. It's recorded
Act.
now.
Act, not in.
You
Act
said
my-
in.
No.
You said
At my
in.
chair. I said I'm standing at my chair, not sitting down. At. Wrong preposition. Ha 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 ha. Said at. So, yeah, and I just scream. Just a big, typical Klingon bellow of anger and frustration.
Do it, you coward.
Okay, so let's see. 5 pi. Sorry, I'm just calculating damage right now after that last round. Because as more biosigns joined in, Junior got in some better rolls that time.
Let's go,
Ooh.
Junior.
Let's go!
That's
Tear it
my
up,
boy.
Chainsaw.
Okay.
My boy.
I'm just imagining Raldar doing the "Are you winning, son?" and his kid is just in a bloodbath.
Are you winning, son?
Are you winning, son?
Okay, so
That's a lot of damage.
yep. So let's see here. Sorry, I'm making sense of. We've technically gone into squad rules at this point because they are because we are dealing with like a group of people. So I think at this point it's 5 and 3 for a total of 15. 10 points of damage there. Oh man. Yeah, that is probably okay. Yes, as the oh man, as more enter from the tactical display, you are beginning to discern the different biosigns. It seems as though Junior moves into closer range and starts as they move into close proximity, as much as your sensor resolution will discern, one by one biosigns begin flicking out that are Creel. Before this initial bit, there were 5 in total that had entered the room at that point. In the moments that you are watching, as you after you scream in frustration, Tabak, you find that those biosigns go down to 1.
Oh, okay.
So yeah. So you are setting your crew to work, hoping that presuming that the crew or ship doesn't tear itself apart here, that you can actually land another blow or two in order to actually uh, take these deal a vicious blow to these squatters. And, well, Junior at least might be doing something, some of that heavy lifting for you. But
Yep.
this, between the struggle on the station and a ship that will be coming next session, your woes are far from over. And I think that we will revisit
That was
them
funny.
next week.
Nah.
So yeah, thank you everyone for stopping in for tonight's Star Trek Adventures Broken Sword game. I'm very happy that everyone came back for the first session back. For the
Yay.
recording, this is where we are going to leave you off. If you ever want to join us live, we are going to be on Wednesday nights, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, through. Let's see. What's that? Oh, we are on Eastern Standard Time, and thank you for following there, Rev. I appreciate it. We are. This is actually a special note. We are at the channel is at 48 now members of or like people following. We are 2 away from affiliate on Twitch, so if you drop by, give me the follow, it'd be much appreciated. Uh, but yeah, with that, we will see you next week. Either I hope you enjoy in the archive or join us live Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Until then, farewell, farewell those of you in the archive.